Okay, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
We will call our meeting to order. It's at 9 a.m. on Tuesday, May 16th. This is the regular board meeting of the Fire Commissioners. Ms. Gomez, would you do the roll call, please?
Woods Gray,
Here.
Babcock,
Here.
Lugich,
Here.
Hara,
Here.
Crawley,
Here.
and Deputy City Attorney Linda Nguyen.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. And good morning to everyone who's here. Chief Crowley, our City Attorney Nguyen, all the command staff. I see a good number of new people out there that I haven't seen in a while. Welcome. And to all of our commissioners. And a special welcome to our new commissioner, Sharon DeLuga, who we are happy to have with us. And as you know, this will be the beginning of our transition. We have a new mayor, and so the commission will start to make transitions as we go through the year. But we welcome Sharon.
Thank you.
She has lots of experiences in the city, and I know that she'll be a valuable resource to the department as well as to the commission. Very good. Okay, let's see. Let's move to item, we have to do how did I miss that? I know I have to do the flag salute. We had the roll call now. Chief, would you do the flag salute and the moment of silence, please?
Hand over your heart. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing and join me in a moment of silence in honor of past and present members of Los Angeles Fire Department who devote their lives to the protection of our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Very good. Okay. Now, item number 1 on our agenda is commissioner comments. First of all, I want to start off by thanking Fire Station 66, Captain Cunningham, and firefighter paramedic Hill. I had an emergency at my own house, and I needed the LAFD, and they were so professional. And they didn't know who I was or anything. They just came in and did their job, took care of my husband. And before Captain Cunningham left, I did introduce myself. But I didn't. I just let them do their work. And I asked if he knew who I was. He said, "No, ma'am, who are you?" I thought that was really cute. Anyway, I really appreciate their quick service, the rapid response time they got there, and they were very professional. In no time, it seemed to me, almost before I can turn the lights on, they're at the door. Also, I want to congratulate all of the command staff that was promoted in the last few promotions, some well-deserving promotions, and I wish all of them the very best. And I did do Fire Service Day, and I want to thank Captain Wilson for his experience that day. He made the day a joy because the freeway was crowded both going and coming on a Saturday.
Oh, yeah.
It was like, wow, it sure was good to have a professional person handling it. And so that was really very good. The Fire Service Day was wonderful, though, throughout the whole city. And for me, since it was my last Fire Service Day, it was like, oh, it was a joy to be back out there with the gang, so to speak. I enjoyed it. And it was well done in the places where I went. Let's see, who did I have? I think that might be all that I had notes on here to talk about. Okay, commissioners, other commissioners have comments? Commissioner DeLuca? Oh, Dr. Haar.
Okay, first off, I want to welcome the new commissioner. And it's been a long time since our last commission meeting, so I've done a fair number of things. And do I recuse myself now, or? Okay. And then, so I attended the Firefighter of the Year award, Captain to Paul Igzizi, and his wife, Debbie, was there, and his whole family, huge family, I might add. And so I represented the Board of Fire Commissioners, and I congratulated Paul on behalf of President Woods Gray and the rest of the commission. And then the Firefighter of the Year award is always interesting because all of the previous recipients show up, like the Finn brothers, et cetera. And as Chief Terrazas used to say, it's like the Hall of Fame of the LAFD in attendance. And then the following day, actually, I attended the promotional ceremony where a number of not only our sworn personnel but our civilian personnel were, were honored. And that was on April 21st. And April 26th through the 28th was the Fill the Boot campaign, and I attended a number of the places where the firefighters were accepting donations to the multiple dystrophy association, and then especially given the fact that in the past we've donated to the ALS, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis organizations. The MDA actually also provides support for them. And then May 12th is the second promotional ceremony that I attended. Actually, the day before that, the LA Area Fire Chiefs Association had a memorial event for the Monterey Park shooting. Since this is Asian Pacific Islander, Heritage Month, and the fire chief and the police chief of Monterey Park were in attendance, as were all of the fire chiefs, which included the fire chief of San Marino and Mario Rueda, who had, 3 decades of service to the LA City Fire Department, and then likewise Pat Butler, who about the same number of years with the LAFD, and then he's now at the Redondo Beach. And so that was a great event. Interesting, on KABC, they had a picture of all of the fire chiefs, and then I was the only one in the audience, and you could see the top of my head. So that was kind of interesting. And then the day following that was the second promotional ceremony, where there were basically 4 of our assistant chiefs and then 2 of our inspectors who were, given their badge. And then and Fire Service Day, which is always a fun day for me. It started off in, let's see, I got to remember all the stations that we hit. We started off in Station 67, which is a relatively new station, as I understand it, only a couple years now, but they have a pancake breakfast and what have you. And from there I hit up a number of the Valley stations. 88 always has a great event, and they had demonstrations of, of a number of things, and they had a flyover as well.
Really?
In that. And then from there, I went to another Valley event all the way in Sylmar, and President Woods Gray was there in attendance for that, and along with the mayor and all of the representatives in the state legislature and what have you, and the city were all in attendance.
Yeah, that was really something.
Monica Rodriguez was there as well, and it's always nice to see her because her father was a firefighter, and then from there I went to 88 right after the chief had left. And on my way to 13, I stopped by 94, which I had memories of because the memorial event for Richard Wong was held there. And then I went to 64 and stopped by 93 in the valley again, and I never made it down to 112. But nevertheless, it was a good day.
I don't know how you made it to all of those places with all that traffic that was out there. You sure did do a great job. That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Commissioner Hara, for always representing us on the commission. Because since we've had COVID, it's been difficult for some of us to make those rounds. But Dr. Hara has always been at everything still, and representing the commission. Because we would all go out before COVID. But that was great. Thank you for attending all of those many events and sharing with us also. Other commissioner comments? Commissioner, did you want to mention you had questions about something? I thought you were going to, this is the time when you would mention it.
Oh, okay, thank you. Well, I'm just interested in learning as much as I can about everything, but I am interested in hearing about the complaint process that we all read an article about, and I would like to learn about how, not the discipline process, but literally the complaint process within the department. When I worked for then City Council member Jackie Goldberg in the 90s, and I believe complaints were handled by the Personnel Commission at the time, and then there was even an Office of Discrimination investigation that was off-site. So I'm curious both when it went back to the department and what is the map of how, I would like to see how a complaint works its way through the system. So I'd like to learn about that whenever it's
Okay.
appropriate.
Very good. We'll arrange that with, Betty will take that down, and Letitia's, and we'll work on that with the agenda planning.
Thank you.
Okay. Anytime you have any items that you'd like to have on the agenda, just mention, the best time to mention them is during commissioner comment,
thank
because there's no other time on the agenda when we can comment.
Glad you told
Because
me.
the city attorney won't let us comment except there.
All right, well, thank you.
So that was perfect. Very good. Okay. So no other commissioner comments? I do want to thank Chief Crowley for heading up Fire Service Day, because without the leadership of Chief Crowley, this doesn't happen. So we really thank you, Chief Crowley, it was almost like before COVID, it seemed, and that was really great. So we thank you for your leadership there, because the community really enjoys it. I mean, there were people doing, I've had fire station tours. Wow, okay. They had large groups of people who were still doing fire station tours. So it's a valuable, very valuable tool for the community. And the one thing that I want us to work on again is when Stacy was here, we had many community training programs where she could go out, and there were a couple other people that did them too, so that we can get back to doing those, because there are groups that are requesting presentations from the fire department, and those were very good. And Stacy had developed some really great programs. I hope that they weren't lost when she retired.
Absolutely. So we're moving forward with our CERT program, that was a wonderful thing about Fire Service Day, is we celebrated our honorary fire chiefs
Yeah.
and selected the highest contributors that are part of our CERT team. So that's just another level of CERT, and we'd be happy, and we're always looking for opportunities to reach out to the community.
Very good. Thank you very much. Okay, let's move on to item 2. And item 2 on the agenda is the report of the fire chief.
All right, well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the new commissioner. We're very happy to have you here and looking forward to introducing you to our amazing department.
Yes.
So with that, I'll be reporting on my meetings and events from April 18th to May 15th. April 19th to the 20th, I had a really great experience where I got to walk side by side with our UFLAC organization with President Escobar. I was part of the CalJack Conference 2023. It's 40 years of creating excellence. And with that, they had nearly 400 fire service professionals, and that's where we all came together with labor and management. And that's the California Firefighter Joint Apprentice Committee, CalJack, and they held their 16th CalJack biannual conference. That was a 3-day conference where labor and management has the opportunity to partner with CalJack, and we walked through a number of really positive programs, from groundbreaking training opportunities, recruitment initiatives, and also they had training workshops that focused on professional development and critical fire service issues. So that was a really wonderful event and conference to be part of with UFLAC, and we're going to continue to walk side by side to make sure that we're providing what we need for the department. With that, on April 20th, we did talk, it sounds like we've been to a lot of the same events, Commissioner, but that was our opportunity to celebrate Captain 2 Paul Ajitsi. He was our 2022 Firefighter of the Year. Very well attended, and an amazing opportunity to highlight an individual that is selected by his or her peers to represent the best of the best in regard to the Firefighter of the Year. So that was a wonderful event. April 21st, that was our promotional ceremony. I had the honor and privilege, along with our command staff and rank and file, to promote 53 members. Those 53 members, we had 2 supermates, 18 engineers, and 20 Captain 1s, and also celebrated our 13 civilian professional staff that work very, very hard to move up through the promotional process. So that's a wonderful day to celebrate the hard work and dedication of our people. Also that same day, we had a retirement luncheon for Captain Scott Suter, who retired out of Fire Station 35. Again, very, very well attended. We wished him very, very well in his retirement, and he was such a positive contributor to our organization, so we wished him well. April 24th, our counterparts over at LA County Fire Department, that was Fire Chief Tony Maroney was sworn in, had the opportunity to witness that along with the LA County side of things, and we celebrated his swearing in. April 26th, we talked about the Fill the Boot campaign, and we haven't done that in a while. We've been on a hiatus. That was another wonderful way that our members are out in the community raising money for the Muscular Dystrophy Association, and that's a charity that's been in existence since 1954, and they've raised a total of $554 million over the many, many years. So we're going to continue to contribute the best that we can. Our firefighters got out there and worked really hard and raised a large amount of funds. April 27th was a budget hearing. I had the opportunity to sit before the Budget, Finance, and Innovation Committee. That's our opportunity to work with the mayor's proposed budget, and then also work with the committee members to justify and request additional funding for other areas that were not funded. So we should be hearing shortly to see where our budget is finalized and move forward with that. So looking forward to seeing our budget. April 28th, I had the opportunity to be part of the Firefighter Corn Tassel Celebration of Life. This was one of our active duty members who passed away. Again, well attended, of course, and we were there side by side with his family as well as our fire family to celebrate his life and to offer our condolences and continue to support to the family. That same day, I also attended Mayor Riordan's memorial, and that was at the Cathedral just to celebrate his legacy of our past mayor and his contributions for many, many years throughout the city of LA. May 3rd, that was the 2023 LAPD Memorial, which was just across the street at their headquarters, where we honored and remember, which is so important for us to obviously walk hand in hand with our public safety partners, where they wanted to memorialize and remember 239 of their fallen police officers that range from 1886 to 2022. Also, that afternoon, had the opportunity again, we're trying to do this monthly. We provided a chat with the chief webinar, again, with a focus on our EMS delivery. We had Chief Dixon, who was part of that. We did receive a lot of positive feedback from that, so we're going to continue to collaborate and offer a variety of communication strategies to our rank and file. May 8th, had the opportunity to go to UCLA and speak with a very high-level scientists, and this is the public-private partnerships. This was an event for the Climate and Wildfire Institute. It's really amazing when you take a big step back and start to partner with all those other agencies that are out there where we have common challenges, and they're leaning very forward in regard to what they're trying to assist with climate change and wildfires. So had the opportunity to speak there. We're going to continue to partner with outside entities to come up with better and innovative and more efficient solutions when it comes to our challenges. That same day, I had the opportunity to meet with the LAFD Scholarship Board of Directors, and this is a really amazing thing that I always leave very inspired. This isn't the Board of Directors, they raise money, nonprofit, to provide scholarships for our first responders' kids. And these kids are amazing. They compete for these scholarships, but that same day they were conducting the interviews for the finalists. They had 8 finalists. They normally have 4 scholarships, but they said they had to squeeze 1 extra scholarship out of that because the finalists were so amazing. And then that following day or 2 later, I had the honor to call each of these teenagers who worked really, really hard and received scholarships for the next 4 years for their college days. So that's a really fun thing that I was a part of. May 10th, I'm really, really proud of this on our behavioral health side of things, of what the department's doing. We have an amazing team on our behavioral health side. This was one of 5 of our LAFD Wellness Days. We kicked it off at Frank Hodgkins, and in which it's just the opportunity, it was almost like a health fair, but a focus on overall health and well-being of our first responders. Really positive thoughts from the members, well attended. We rotated our companies through. I was challenged to do the cold water plunge. I did it. I had to set the bar. I sat in an ice bath for 10 minutes.
Wow.
So, but I think the next person beat me, and then nobody else went in that following day. So we'll see. So we're going to continue to push forward and find out different innovative ways. So thank you to Chief Moore, as well as our behavioral staff who put that together, and we're going to keep pushing to get our people what they need. May 11th, that's what you also spoke about, Commissioner. That was the press conference that we had, the Lunar New Year mass shooting. It was for responders and dispatchers. We hosted that at our training center at Frank Hodgkins Memorial Center. That's where we did have all the local LA region fire chiefs participate. They honored, I believe, 5 different departments that came in and also assisted during that mass shooting, and was happy that we could host it and also be there to contribute when it came to our responding resources. That same day, had the opportunity to speak as a keynote at the 2023 Inspirational Women's Luncheon. That was through the Chamber of Commerce at the San Fernando Valley. Wonderful way to just get out in the community. They honored 5 women who were their inspirational honorees, so that was a wonderful way to get out there and represent the department. Just a few more. May 12th, we had another promotional ceremony, which we had the honor and privilege to promote our 2 Fire Inspector 2s as well as our 4 Assistant Chiefs. May 13th, Fire Service Day. I think you might have beat me on the number of stations that you went to, Commissioner, but we made our rounds. We went to Fire Station 5, 67, 69, 88s, 91s, 13s, and 112s. It was a fun, packed day where you get to witness the connection between our community and our firefighters in the local stations. It's just that wonderful way to reconnect and to just revitalize and re-inspire each and every one of us when we connect with the community. So Fire Service Day is always a wonderful thing. We're going to continue to celebrate that. And then lastly, yesterday I had the opportunity to speak to, and this is what I said to the group, that's our battalion chief and assistant chief mentorship program that we kicked off yesterday. And we had our 41 battalion chief candidates as well as our 14 assistant chief candidates all in the same room. We had the opportunity, I had the opportunity to kick that off and talk about our future and collaboration in building the LEFD together. But then with that comes many days of mentorship and ensuring that our chief officers are ready to hit the field, do it safely, and to move this organization forward. And that's the end of my report. Thank you.
I don't think anyone wants to follow that. You had to be on roller skates or something to keep up with the chief there. She was so very busy. Thank you for all the energy and the excitement that you carry with your work that you do. And having the department represented there is very important to our image, and that's great. That's wonderful. Thank you, Chief Crowley. I love the energy that you bring to this job. Okay, very good. The next item on our agenda is the significant incidents and activities. Oh, okay, we're going to have Chief Ronnie V do this. Welcome, Chief Ronnie.
Good morning, Madam President,
Villanueva.
Commissioners, Chief Crowley, City Attorney Nguyen, Leticia. I'm Deputy Chief Ronnie Villanueva, Deputy Chief Operations South Bureau. One incident to report on 5/4, hazardous material incident number 284, 6:39 a.m., 2101 East Pacific Coast Highway, Wilmington. LAFD resources responded to a reported vapor release at the Marathon Refinery. First arriving resources found 4 patients exhibiting signs of respiratory distress and eye irritation while changing a gauge on a valve. Firefighters triaged, treated, and transported 4 patients in mild distress. Hazmat personnel identified the product release as hydrogen sulfide. Total commitment of resources with 10 fire companies, 10 RAs, 2 EMS captains, 2 BCs, and Command 22. Specialized resources included Cal OSHA, Hazmat, JHAD, LA County Health, our Public Information Officer, and SCIMO. SCIMO is a Southern California Industrial Mutual Aid Organization. That's where all the refineries get together. We meet quarterly, and it's that relationship that we have with them that made this incident a success, because they have on scene USAR and Hazmat at the refineries. SCIMO, they have a call out where they all show up and help each other and support each other. And that's part of those monthly meetings that we have and the training that we have. They're experts at what they do. So when their person went down, they kept that person from further injury and even death before we even showed up. So that collaboration, that teamwork saved the life for sure of one person, and the other 3 were, well, all 4 were transported, but the end result was no one ended up with a severe injury or any death. So.
Very good.
And that's the end of my report, unless you have any questions.
Approximately how many refineries are out there?
Oh, there's got to be close to 20, probably.
20?
Yeah.
Active refineries.
Approximately. Wow. Yeah. When we meet quarterly, our Marine Ops will go along with the battalion commander every now and then. I will go, or Chief Moore will go as well. And there's different fire departments. Also, Torrance shows up, Long Beach shows up, LA County, El Segundo. So, and then all the refineries are all in the South Bay area. Right. So we all meet together in case we need something, significant incident like we had the Pasha fire. We need an abundance amount of foam. They all get together and contribute to help the cause.
Oh, okay, very good. Good thing you're there. Commissioners, are there any comments or questions for the chief on his report? No. Okay, thank you, Chief Villanueva, for the work that you're doing there. Thanks for the Fire Service Day. And next, we have item C, and Chief Tyler Dixon, you're doing that today?
Yes, ma'am.
Very good, medical emergencies. Thank you, welcome.
Thank you, ma'am. Good morning, Madam President. Good morning, Commissioners, Fire Chief Crowley, Deputy City Attorney Nguyen, command staff, colleagues, and guests. I'll be reporting on medical emergencies relevant to the period of April 19th through May 15th. Madam President, I have two incidents here to offer as examples of the fine work that your firefighters, EMTs, paramedics, rated members, captains, advanced providers have done over that period. On May 8th, companies in the Hollywood area responded to a traffic accident where they found a two-car traffic accident involving a panel van that had a dozen people, passengers in the panel van. They quickly identified that this was going to be a mass casualty incident and counting 9 patients. They ordered additional companies, including 8 rescue ambulances, 5 fire companies, and established a mass casualty incident command system where they triaged, organized, treated, and transported patients in a timely manner. Your firefighter, EMTs, and paramedics were able to treat and release 5 patients on scene and transport 4 patients to a local trauma center in a timely manner and stable condition. That's an example of a challenge that's met by your LAFD on a regular basis, incidents that involve multiple patients requiring coordination between your LAFD members, hospital, and other allied agencies such as LAPD. On May 4th, companies in the North Hollywood area responded to a cardiac arrest where they found a gentleman in his 70s who was found without pulses and absent of respiratory effort. This was caused by a choking incident during a meal. Your paramedics and EMTs quickly provided advanced cardiac life support, doing CPR, establishing an IV, and providing cardiac medications. Paramedic was able to use an advanced airway technique and tools to locate an obstruction of the airway, a food particle that was blocking the airway that caused this cardiac arrest. Paramedic was able to remove that obstruction, continue CPR. An advanced provider, APRU, Advanced Provider Response Unit, arrived carrying a specialty piece of equipment that we've discussed previously, an automated cardiac compression device. Lucas device is the brand name. While continuing advanced cardiac medication, applied the Lucas device, and in several minutes were able to establish a return of spontaneous circulation. Paramedics transported this patient after conducting additional diagnostics and identifying a myocardial infarction that was related to the cardiac arrest, identified an appropriate hospital, activated their STEMI team, and transported the patient in stable condition, delivering the patient with pulses and a spontaneous respirations.
Wow.
This is an example of 2 examples of the thousands of patients your EMTs, your firefighter, paramedics, rated members, captains, and advanced providers have treated over this last period of reporting. End of report, ma'am, unless you have any questions.
Commissioners, do you have any questions? No? Is the Lucas device the ones that we voted on a few meetings back? And it
Yes.
went right to work, huh? That's
Yes,
great.
ma'am. The device that was used in this case is, in fact, one of the devices that this commission approved several meetings ago.
And thanks to the Fire Foundation, they donated these devices.
Yes, ma'am. That's a generous donation through the Fire Foundation that provided these life-saving pieces of equipment. And under Chief Crowley's leadership, we're pursuing several avenues to hopefully one day have one on every paramedic rescue.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you, Chief Dixon.
Yes, ma'am.
Very good. Okay, let's move on to item 3, presentations. I understand we have a presentation? No, it's not? It's not today? Oh, okay, it'll move to June. Okay. Thank you very much. Let's move on to public comments. Do we have any public comments?
No, today no cards were submitted.
Okay, no public comment. That's kind of rare, but it's, so, well, let's move on to item 5.
We're virtual.
That's the consent agenda items. The consent agenda items are the items that will just be approved in mass.
Yeah, most,
So, just 1 minute,
Sure.
Commissioner. I'm just kind of telling it for our new
Definitely.
commissioner, so
Yep.
she'll know that. We just voted on all those. Of course, you have consent agendas over at the board, so you know about that. But we're we're going to have to vote on A through D and leave E for further discussion.
Okay.
So whoever, at this time, if there's no questions or comments from
Just-
anyone,
Just
I will be recusing myself from discussion of item 5E, item 23048, because I happen to be a professor of family medicine at the David Geffen School of Medicine at UCLA, and this involves the UCLA stroke unit.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Dr. Harr.
And just for the new commissioners' point of reference, you can see with items 5C and 5D, those are both in-kind donations that are coming in through the Fire Foundation. One is the ultrasound machines, and the other are the safety transfer boards, so
Yeah.
things that come in like that. But anytime we have questions, we're also able to go through. But for moving forward, I'll make a motion to approve items 5A through D and leave off item E, correct?
Yes.
Madam
Is there a
President? Okay.
second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve items 5A through D. All those in favor say aye,
Aye.
Aye.
and those opposed, no. That motion carries. And we'll move on to, I would also like to, before we move on, thank the Fire Foundation again for the in-kind donations that they give to us. So many that really make life better for many of the citizens of the city, and also help the fire department, the firefighters, do the work that they do so well. Okay, now we'll move to item E. Chief Dixon, are you going to explain something about that?
I'd be happy to, ma'am.
Yes.
Yeah, so, again, good morning, Commissioners, Chief Crowley, Deputy City Attorney Nguyen, command staff, and guests. Again, my name is Tyler Dixon. I'm Assistant Chief for Los Angeles Fire Department assigned to the EMS Bureau. Before you, you have item 5E, Board Report 23-048, which is a request for the board to approve a extension of the memorandum of understanding between UCLA and the fire department. And this surrounds a vehicle that UCLA operates that's entitled the Mobile Stroke Program. This is a trial program that UCLA staffs. It's a vehicle that is outfitted with specialized equipment to detect and treat cerebral vascular accidents or strokes, specifically strokes associated with a clot. And this vehicle is staffed by medical personnel that are employed by UCLA. It is driven by a firefighter paramedic that's employed by a different fire department. It's usually Santa Monica Fire Department. This vehicle operates in the area of West Los Angeles and can also operate, as far as this agreement, anywhere in the city of Los Angeles that the vehicle chooses to, but it generally operates out of the West LA area, Westwood, UCLA, out of the hospital, and it is partnered with multiple fire department agencies within that jurisdiction. This agreement would allow the continuation of the program that's been in partnership with the Los Angeles Fire Department since 2020. This would be a reestablishment or a renewal of this agreement that allows this vehicle to monitor our fire department radios and request through our Metro Fire Communications, our dispatch center, to be added to EMS incidents that the staff on the mobile stroke unit feel that they could provide value. They would respond in parallel to a normal response that the LAFD sends, typically a paramedic rescue and an engine for this type of call. The paramedics and EMTs would do the normal care that we have established through normal policy. They would not delay care or wait for the mobile stroke unit. If the mobile stroke unit arrives on scene during the normal course of an assessment and determines that it's appropriate for their level of service to be involved, care could be transferred to the mobile stroke unit, allowing the mobile stroke unit to do a CT scan there in the back of their vehicle and identify an appropriate treatment algorithm and transport the patient to an appropriate center. Now, that is only going to occur if that unit arrives in a period of time that's appropriate. If the unit does not arrive in time while the patient is ready to be transported during normal course of policy, our members would transport. So there's no delay in care. This is a program that does not cost the fire department at all. There's no fiscal impact to the fire department. It's completely funded through UCLA. The only impact to the fire department is that we offer them a fire department radio and allow them to be dispatched through our dispatch center, which does not have a fiscal impact. We have had no negative outcomes since 2020. We have had no challenges associated with this that would lead us to believe that this is in any way problematic. This is of benefit to a patient in a specific window where they have a stroke that is caused by a clot. And we support from the fire department this trial, and we would support and ask that the Board of Fire Commissioners approve the recommendations in this report.
Okay, thank you very much. So both units show up, LAFD and UCLA?
That's correct, ma'am.
Okay.
I have a question.
A question, Commissioner?
Yes, thank you. I have a question. Is this something we would like to bring in-house at some point? Are we seeing this as a model to do in our department?
Yeah, this is a very complex apparatus that requires physician oversight, requires specialized nursing personnel, and requires a very specialized piece of equipment that is most likely, Commissioner, beyond the scope of a regular emergency medical services provider. This is an appropriate partnership with a healthcare provider and a major hospital. This particular piece of equipment in this particular study that is being conducted by UCLA is well suited to remain at an institution that not only has a receiving facility, the staff to support this, but also has that academic medical school that is able to conduct this study. Anything's possible in the future, but it would be premature to make any kind of recommendation that this would be something any different than this recommendation, ma'am.
That makes sense. And just one quick question. How many vehicles do they have, and are they looking to expand beyond the west side?
One vehicle, and I don't have knowledge that they're looking to expand. Again, this is in a trial phase, proof
Gotcha.
of concept.
Thank you.
So perhaps once the trial stage is over and it's successful, they will then look to expand? Because UCLA has expanded quite a bit throughout the whole Southern California area. But
Right.
this is, and it's a wonderful experiment, trial, because of the number of strokes that we're having in the city area and the timeliness of the treatment. And so that would really be helpful to the people for them to get it right away. And I was also glad to hear Dr. Harlow, because of Kaiser, that the West LA Kaiser is now a stroke center also. So that was really good for me to hear, that we've moved from Sunset over. So there's a lot more emphasis being placed on strokes. Thank you, Chief Tyler Dixon.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
Are there any other further questions for the chief? Okay, seeing no other questions, then a motion is in order to approve the recommendation.
Motion to approve and authorize the fire chief to execute the memorandum of agreement with the Regents of the UC California Stroke Mobile Unit Program for the 5-year period, March 2nd, 2023 through 28, and also recommendations 2 and 3 inclusive of that.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you very much. It's been moved and seconded that we transmit to the mayor's office for approval, BFC 23-048. All those in favor say aye,
Aye.
Aye.
and those opposed say no. Thank you very much. The motion's carried, and we'll move on to the next item, which is the regular agenda items. The regular agenda items, number 6. The first one is a verbal report by Los Bomberos. Good morning. How are you?
I'm good, well.
Good to see you.
Thank you. How are you doing today?
Good, good.
Good, good. Good morning to the board. Good morning, Madam President. Good morning, Chief. And to the command staff, good morning. My name is Miguel Guerrero. I'm the Los Bomberos president. I'm also a Fire Captain 1 over at Fire Station 11 on the C shift. And briefly, I'm here to provide an update to everyone regarding our organization. I know it seems like we've disappeared for a bit, but I just wanted to let everyone know that we are back and we're trying to get organized to move forward and help the community as much as possible. So briefly, I wanted to state Los Bomberos was organized back in 1966. The organization's goal has been dedicated to the recruitment, hiring, and advancement of qualified firefighter candidates and LFD members who possess the skills necessary to provide exceptional emergency services to the diverse communities that we serve. Now, fast forward to 2023, that goal has not changed. However, our current board wants to have a stronger connection with the community. We have a strong desire to improve the community of inner-city kids that would not have had the ability or even the thought of becoming a firefighter. We have been able to help a few candidates already in achieving the goal, and in fact, we've had several be successful in their interview process, and we have a member going to their PIQ process today, which is their personnel background process.
Great.
We will be here to provide direction, guidance, and financial assistance to those that need it in the event that they would not have that opportunity on their own. Our board is committed to helping raise funds to create points of contact to anyone that is willing to receive it. Most recently, we participated in the career fair at Marshall High School, at Harris Newmark High School. Last December, we collected over 300 toys at our first annual toy drive for the Spark of Love program.
Very good.
We hold monthly get-togethers at a coffee shop in the community of El Sereno, and we refer to this as the Bombero Hour, where we create an opportunity for anyone and everyone. Everyone's invited. There's no rank here, and most importantly, there's no judgment. And so this is the opportunity to help anyone create a network, but also to create that opportunity to open up and, assisting with the mental health aspect of the department. At the moment, we are meeting at Old Fire Station 6. Old Station 6 is currently located on East Edgewater, where it borders the Fire Station District of 3s and 20s. We were able to make this contact there with another nonprofit called Central City Action Committee that also helps the inner-city youth. At this location, our board will continue to meet and continue to develop the organization for the betterment of the community and department. Our board consists of dedicated individuals that have the same goal and that are willing to give back and help someone that didn't have the same opportunity growing up. I'd like to mention the board because they have an outstanding level of commitment to the goal of our organization, and I can guarantee from me that you will hear from them again. Currently, our vice president is Arturo Tango, a Captain 2 that is assigned to the Emergency Bureau, and he has over 17 years with the fire department. Our treasurer, Vince Robago, he is currently a firefighter at Fire Station 2 and has over 8 years with the department. Our secretary is Enrique Barboa, who recently promoted to Captain 2, and he is assigned to Fire Station 12, and he has over 22 years of service. Our social media director, Rick Nahara, he's assigned to recruitment and has over 32 years of service, and he basically handles all the social media aspects, so anything that you see on Instagram, all the posts, that's basically him. Our other directors, Louis Santion, he is assigned to Fire Station 20. He is a Captain 2, and he has over 22 years of service. Our other director, Dave Diaz, he is assigned to Fire Station 2 with over 22 years of service. Jerry Puga is also an engineer at Fire Station 26, and he has 19 years of service with the department. Our director, Anthony Tubbs, firefighter paramedic at Fire Station 78 in the Valley. He has over 14 years of service, and he is also our liaison for the younger membership, specifically the cadet program. And our newest director, Evelyn Medina, she is a firefighter at Fire Station 13 and has 3.5 years with the department. And we felt that we wanted to include her to create that female mentorship connection to the department, and also because, frankly, most of the board were a little bit older, so we wanted to shorten that age gap. And there's always that generational difference, and so we're hoping that she can help us with that. So that's basically our board. They're dedicated members that are eager to make a difference. We look forward in collaborating with the department and the board. We'll continue to have fundraisers and ask for your help. Follow us on social media. And very soon we'll start be able to collect membership fees to help our funds. And at the end of the year, we're going to have our big gala. This is going to be our first big gala where we'll be able to raise funds and improve those assets for scholarships, where we have dinner, dancing, music, and all that good stuff. So make sure you bring your dancing shoes. So we thank you for the opportunity, and that closes my presentation.
Well, thank you very much for reaching out so that we could get an update on you, because I know that the first time we invited you, it was kind of like, oh, wow. And then, but you did a great job. And then now to hear you come back and to hear the organization of this organization. This is an organization that I've wanted to see develop ever since I started 10 years ago. And it's really this is great. It's very exciting. And you've connected with a place where you can have meetings. You're including the female firefighters. I love that. and the generation gaps, you're taking that into consideration. You guys are just on a roll.
We're trying, ma'am.
That is really great. I am really proud of the work that you're doing. And I remember once you were talking about the fire station that was empty. I think Councilmember Eunice Hernandez is going to remodel that. Have you guys talked to her about what's going on there?
We've attempted, so we did start with the former council member, and that process started going, and then the election process kind of
Yes.
followed everything.
But I heard her say that she's going to remodel and refurbish that station. So there may be you may can partner with her there.
Yes, ma'am.
So you should
we'll be-
talk to her about that, because that's great. I remember you were talking about that fire station before, and when I heard she was going to remodel it, I said, oh, my God, this is a great opportunity for them because of the cost, that's involved. Very good. Commissioners, do you have any comments?
Yeah, just know you have a commissioner in the El Sereno backyard down below Wilson High School where we have our great cadet program. So anytime you all need anything, I'm there in Hillside Village and,
That's exactly where we meet. We meet at the village right there on Soto. So
Oh,
We'll
okay.
be having our next meeting on June 10th, but anyways, it'll be posted with the accurate date.
okay, maybe I'll stop in and say hello and introduce myself. So, but glad to see you guys coming back up and hopefully get more folks interested in the fire service that are able to see others look like them. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, you're doing great work. Thank you so very much. Also, send all of your social media information to Ms. Gomez so that she can send it out to the commissioners, and we can all join on and stay in touch and know exactly what you're doing,
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
okay?
Will do.
And can help with when you're doing fundraising or whatever other activities you're doing.
Great.
But it's before this commission strongly supports the work you're doing and wish you nothing but the best.
Great. Thank you.
Thank
We
you so
appreciate
much.
it. Thank you.
Very good, okay. Do we, Miss Attorney Nguyen, City Attorney Nguyen, do we have to do anything with A? No. It's just a verbal report and there's no action. Okay, good. Okay, so let's move on to B. Item B is the illegal cannabis unit presentation. And I'm welcoming a very old friend that I haven't seen in a long time. So nice to see you, sir.
Nice to see you too as well, Commissioner, President. Good morning, Madam President, Commissioners, City Attorney, and Fire Chief Crawley. I'm Anthony Hardaway, Battalion Chief and the Administrative Section Commander of the Fire Prevention and Public Safety Bureau. Today I'll be touching on an overview of illegal cannabis and the cannabis unit as well, and I'll be touching on highlights and challenges. I'll first start with the cannabis unit. In 1996, California passed Proposition 215, making medical marijuana illegal for qualified patients. The subsequent passage of Proposition 64, which made the safe manufacturing cannabis legal for personal use and paving the way for thriving cannabis industry. The cannabis unit was formed in 2018. The cannabis unit consists of a captain, one management analyst, 3 inspectors. Their jobs for inspecting fire and life safety, chemical inventory, and appropriate permits for all businesses conducting cannabis-related operations in the city of Los Angeles. You guys had received this report, and I'm sure you had an opportunity to review it. I was going to jump right to some of the highlights and some of the successes and the challenges. Some of the challenges that this unit has occurred are with the Department of Cannabis Regulations, what I refer to them as DCR. They issue our temporary approvals or permits for operators prior to them completing the entire process. As it stands today, the process, if you're attempting to operate a cannabis business, you first go to DCR. DCR issues a temporary approval or permit. Then that operator needs to go to Los Angeles Building of Safety and FDS for approvals or permits.
Chief Hardaway?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just wanted to clarify, are you talking about the legal cannabis unit, or are you talking about?
Cannabis unit, started with the cannabis unit.
Okay, I think this,
So you're going to do both of them at the same time? Kind of mix them, because we had 2 separate items
Yes.
on the agenda.
I'm sorry.
wait, so you're talking about the the cannabis
Cannabis.
unit? Okay, so I think we'll just need to clarify that that's what we're, that's
I'm
what
sorry.
the board will be considering at this moment.
Okay, so you're going to do the
Yeah.
cannabis.
I have 2
unit.
reports, ma'am, cannabis and illegal cannabis.
Yeah, so
Right.
if you could just do the cannabis one first, and then when you move on to the and take questions for that, so that.
That's what I was.
Okay, just. I
And
think
then you'll do the illegal.
I started with the cannabis unit,
Okay.
sorry.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thanks for the clarification.
Sorry about that, ma'am. So DCR, when they approve those temporary approvals, the operator normally takes that and operates versus going through the entire process. So that's one of our biggest challenges. DCR currently has no active enforcement process in this whole process. Staffing is huge because staffing has affected, since especially with COVID, LADBS, Office of Finance, Department of Cannabis Regulations, as well as the cannabis unit. Give you an example, LADBS, for their process for the inspectors to go out and inspect these businesses, they only have one inspector available. So you can imagine the challenges of that. Business sometimes operate immediately without all paper permits, often performing unlicensed permitted remodeling, which creates hazardous conditions for the inspectors, the citizens, and the firefighters that may respond to an emergency there. Some of the operations are also challenges for the business owner. This is very expensive. So if a business goes through the proper process, it can take up to 2 to 3 years to be properly permitted and operating. So as you can see, as an operator, if they're renting or they own a business, they're paying a mortgage, they're paying rent, and they're not getting any return on their product. So that could cause an operator to actually operate illegally. Some of our success stories, since the last year, we hired a management analyst for the unit that helps with the clerical and managing the unit as well as creating this document. The unit has created a document which was approved by the city attorney to be sent out to every license holder and temporary approval holder that has clear instructions on how to become permitted and being compliant. So, and that document also states on there that operating other than permitted or compliant is illegal and could be put into the legal process. That's something DCR does not do. So we want to have that up front so everybody knows exactly what they're facing when they're operating. The unit has also been working with DCR. We receive notification on new temporary approvals and permits when they're issued, so at least we can get ahead of those members, those business operators. We also forward that information to LADBS as well as FDS, so they at least know these businesses are out there and possibly may operate. In a report on the cannabis unit, any questions?
Are you fully staffed at the number that you need?
We have 2 inspectors that have been detailed. Those 2 inspectors are putting in F-18s to go to the unit, and then that unit will be fully staffed. Currently, we are staffed with detailed members, the 2 inspectors involved.
Okay,
And we have 1 inspector assigned.
okay. Commissioner?
So it sounds like what you're saying is because of the challenges to become approved is actually forcing many owners, or not forcing, but encouraging, incentivizing owners to operate illegally, which seems bad.
Yes.
And I just wonder if you have ideas or anyone's got ideas about how to streamline the process, and I also wonder if there's any look at the demographics of who is falling into that category. I know this is an important issue for Councilmember Harris Dawson from an equity lens of the cannabis operators. So I'd just like to hear your opinions about that.
Yeah, so we've met with the equity group. However, our lane, we try to stay into upholding the fire code. I think if we work with DCR and they stop issuing the temporary permit process before all the other permits are acquired, that would stop some of it. However, but that challenge is just, we're finding different challenges every day. Operators will get the temporary permit and they start operating. So as you can imagine, it's just tough to catch every operator that's operating illegally.
Right. Right.
And if I'm also clear, it sounds like, from the fire code perspective, so there's the permitting side, which is, between the cannabis unit, but if we're starting to look at unpermitted operations happening within these buildings, we then have a huge fire safety issue with fires potentially happening. I wonder, can it go, and this may not be, this is just more to put out here for us speaking about it, if it goes a layer before that, which is really the actual owner of these particular buildings. From what I understand, oftentimes the person operating the cannabis is not actually the owner of the building, and the owner is then receiving quite a bit of cash from those folks doing that, which is, great from a ownership, I guess, perspective, if you look at it from that lens. However, the owner of the building should then be held, in some cases, responsible. Whether, if you're not paying your property taxes, you have a lien on it. If I have overgrowth on my property in El Cerrito, I'm, getting, I'm getting quite a bit of notices from our, brush clearance unit, right? So, if you don't pay your plumber, you have a lien on that property. In this particular case, the cannabis unit should probably start to at least protect more from the building perspective of our older buildings, especially here in Los Angeles, having code issues. And the property owners should now begin to get some responsibility so that we refrain from allowing those folks to be operating in those buildings to begin with. Which to me would seem like a layer before all of this, because we're having too many unpermitted improvements that are causing violations and probably fires. And just even on Alhambra Avenue in El Sereno, you could see the fires that are happening constantly on that block. And it is typically has been unpermitted cannabis operation. So I do wonder how much these property owners are being held responsible versus the actual business operator, which could be two separate people.
Yes, Commissioner. So and this speaks to somewhat of the legal cannabis side as well. When the inspectors go out and they do discover that, when we write the notice and we write the legal pack, it is to the building owner. So we do hold the building owner accountable. The operator who's operating the cannabis part, LAPD deals with that person.
Okay.
But we do hold the building owner accountable. Now, I'm not sure if, they're told what the operation is being done when they make that deal.
Sure.
However, we do hold them accountable. If there's a fire in that building and there is a death involved, then it's criminally accountable, and they're held accountable for that death as well.
Okay. Excellent. Yeah, and I mean, they could say they don't know what's going on, but as a building owner, if you have a lease in place when someone, you're usually, the first thing you're asked on any type of lease is what's the use?
Correct.
So if, hopefully they're going to play dumb for as long as possible, because nobody wants to be held accountable for something like that.
Yes.
But
And once that the operator is fined and is put into the legal department, nothing can happen with that building. So if they want to change the use of occupancy, then they have to go to the city attorney's office, and it has to be a court-ordered reinspection, and then they make that evaluation whether they can move forward for a change of use of occupancy or a sale.
excellent. Good to hear. Okay, thank you.
Has there been a growth in the number of legal cannabis operators?
Excuse me,
Has there
repeat
been a
that,
growth?
Commissioner? Has it grown?
Has there been an increased number?
Yes, so last year we had about 100, illegal or legal?
No, legal.
Illegal, the problem is we can't get an exact number because they're popping up all the time. We get referrals from the fire stations, PD, citizens. So we get a set number, but that number changes increasingly every month.
That's the illegal?
Illegal.
So what about the legal?
So the legal, we're about at 562 legal occupancies for legal cannabis, ma'am.
And is that a growth over last year or the year before?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So as it continues to grow, it seems as if we start off with a certain number of inspectors, and then you need to
Correct.
continue to.
Yeah.
Because I noticed that on your graph, there was a certain group that hadn't been inspected. What was the problem with that group?
Which, are we referring to cannabis, correct?
Page 4, this is the cannabis. The legal.
So last year, that shows the number of the inspections. We had to, accomplish 100% at the end of the year.
Oh, okay.
So the inspectors were able to accomplish 90%, the 10% because we had 2 inspector vacancies. So that was the challenge. We were close to the target but we utilized the detailed members and members working overtime to assist with the inspections.
Oh, okay, so by the end of the year, you had completed the whole thing?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay, very good. Okay, any other questions, commissioners? Okay. If
Sorry,
there,
it's complicated because
if there are no further questions, we need to vote on that item, and then we'll go to the illegal. Okay, Chief, hold on. Okay, so this was item C.
That was-
So we need a motion to receive and file BFC 23-043.
Motion to receive and file item BFC 23-4043.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
So it's been moved and seconded that we receive and file BFC 23-043. All those in favor say aye,
Aye.
and those opposed, like sign. Okay, the motion carries, and we will move on now to B, the illegal cannabis unit.
Ma'am, I apologize.
Thank you.
I thought it was easier to start with the cannabis, then go to the illegal cannabis.
That's okay, it's just,
Yes.
it's fine, no problem, Chief
So-
Hardaway, that's just,
With the illegal cannabis, in October of 2019, additional funding was provided to form the Illegal Cannabis Enforcement Unit. To assist in the investigation and execution of warrants for the interdepartmental task forces that comprise the Los Angeles Fire Department, the Los Angeles Police Department, the Los Angeles Department of Building and Safety, and the Department of Water and Power. The illegal cannabis consists of 5 Inspector 2s, 5 Inspector 1s, and 1 management analyst. I'll jump to some of the highlights and challenges. If you notice on page, see the graph of inspections and re-inspections, it shows the inspections, but the re-inspections are low, but all those re-inspections are court-ordered. And that speaks to when the occupancy is closed, the city attorney may order for a re-inspect for additional information needed to complete their case, or if that building operator is trying to change the use of occupancy or trying to sell the business. So then it's ordered a re-inspection for that. For warrants served and shutdowns, we're at 100%. Each warrant is 100% shutdown. A legal pack is forwarded to city attorney, and that's up for legal litigation. Some of the challenges with the illegal unit, we kind of talked about some of them because they kind of cross into cannabis. For the warrants, based on LAPD, the warrants slow down based on LAPD's budget. Some units throughout LAPD narcotics, they utilize the warrant search for overtime. Some units use more officers, which eats up more of the budget, which slows it down. Often associated with the other illegal cannabis operations are often associated with other criminal activities such as illegal drugs, human trafficking, illegal gambling. Staffing of all the agencies as well, LAPD, LAFD, DWP, LADBS. It's based on staffing because due to COVID and members trying to get members back to work, some of these operations may slow down. Tracking of repeat offenders is a challenge. And also just finding illegal operations because we get them through referrals, they pop up, they close down, they move, and it becomes complicated to track them. Mm-hmm. Some of the successes with the implementation of FIMS 2.0, it would allow us to track more detailed, specific data on illegal cannabis businesses. The illegal cannabis unit worked with in-service training. We created a one-page training tip document. We submitted that to all the stations and the field resources, and that is used to help the field resources identify illegal operations, what to look for when they're doing drive-bys and inspections, and if they respond to a structure fire, they can note that and operate in a safe manner. Once a building is identified, it's also flagged in our metro with the metro dispatch. So that's information is passed down to the GERO bureaus as well as the battalions. So it is a known location. If case they do, the companies respond to that building, they know that it is an illegal operation. That's the end of the report, Commissioners. Any questions?
Who serves the warrants?
So LAPD serves warrants in conjunction with the fire department. Our warrant is an administrative warrant. LAPD, when they serve, the unit responds and they stage 2 blocks out. LAPD does the warrant. They go and clear the building. They make sure it's safe for entry for us. After it's cleared, the fire department inspectors, the illegal cannabis inspectors go in, they document, take pictures, and they ultimately put a tag on the door that says no entry.
Okay, very good. I was concerned about your safety. So
So,
that's why
of course, safety is a big concern because these operations, the legal operations are not federally regulated, so it's cash. They're heavily guarded. Sometimes they are denied entry. So our inspectors have radios, cell phones, they work in pairs, and oftentimes we have to have LAPD assist with the inspection sometimes.
The stations can help with actually identifying anytime a marijuana shop is opened up in their neighborhood. Do they let you know when marijuana shops are opened up so that you can verify whether or not they're legal or illegal?
Absolutely, ma'am. It's called referral. They call either the cannabis units or the legal cannabis, or our Inspector Webb, who normally gets them, and he refers them to the correct locations.
And then citizens who just want to report seeing a not legal, we don't know whether they're illegal or what state they're in, but if we want to report a space to the city, do we have to dial 311 or is there another area?
Yes, they can dial 311. They talk to their city commissioners. Not council office. Excuse me. Several ways that they can report it. And the funny thing about it is some of the legal operators will report the illegal operators as well.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's a good idea, actually.
they're paying for everything.
Yes.
Right, that makes a lot of sense. It does. Commissioners, you have comments or questions for Chief Hardaway?
No, I appreciate, I know it's, the in-between, and I know there's a lot of things that happen that we don't see, that it's hard to always put on paper, so we appreciate all the hard work between both the mayor's cannabis unit and LAFD, LAPD, and I know that this is a work in progress, and I know that Los Angeles will continue to probably be a place on the map for the rest of the country to follow, so doing this hard work at the beginning, and hopefully at some point the illegal units will start to fade away over the years, but I know that takes time.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, you have 2 separate staffs.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so are you fully staffed for the illegal section?
Yes, minus 2 inspectors, but we will be shortly with the new promotions.
Oh, okay, 2 more, okay, well, you need those. All right, very good. That manpower people power is very important. Any more questions? Okay. Seeing no other questions, a motion is in order that we receive and file item B, BFC 23-042.
Motion to receive and file item 6B, BFC 23-402.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we receive and file BFC 23-042. All those in favor say aye,
Aye.
and those opposed, like sign. The motion carries. We'll move on to the next item. The next item is item D. Chief Hardaway, I'm sorry, I forgot to say, thank you very much for the report. That was very good. And it's good to see you. Keep up the good work. Item D. Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, we're looking at the mural artwork.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Good morning, Commissioners, President Woods Gray, Fire Chief Crowley, Deputy City Attorney Nguyen, and executive staff. This morning, my name is Justin Moore. I'm the battalion chief currently assigned to in-service training section. I was previously assigned as the executive officer, which is the administrative assistant to administrative operations. This is a report on our policy for fire department mural artwork. This was at the request on the February 14th meeting by President Jimmy Woods Gray, and I want to make sure that you know what our policy is. Currently, we do not have a policy specific to mural artwork. However, we do have a policy that covers alterations and improvements to our stations. The LAFD recognizes that mural artwork beautifies the public spaces and builds a sense of community. We also recognize that this can improve the work environment and is a highly valued contribution from our membership to the community. The process that we currently follow is outlined in our Manual of Operations. It's in Volume 4. It's our Category 8, Chapter 3. It's Section 80.01 in our Building Services, and it reads specifically, requests for alterations, improvements, additions, or installations to any fire department facility shall be submitted on an F-225 and forwarded through channels to the respective bureau commander. And original artwork would fall into that category. So that's the process that we follow currently. We do recognize that this is an important tradition that we would like to keep on the fire department, but we do recognize that it's imperative that in order for us to be able to do that, that we have a policy that officially outlines the process for us to do that. So we'd like to continue to collaborate with our internal membership, work with the community as well, and successfully come up with a group so that we can continue to deliver this highly valued heritage to our community.
Okay, thank you, Chief Moore. I'm not sure if the commissioners are aware that we had some issues with murals in the city, in the fire department. And because of that, I originally remembered maybe a couple of murals when I first came onto the commission, and then they started to grow because we have an in-house artist who's very good at doing what she does. And I think it became a popular thing. So because of the issues that occurred, I did want to know if we had policy and present it to the commission to make sure that we could eliminate some of the future problems that we might have and to hear what the policy is. I think that we had policy, but the chief might want to speak to this more, but it hadn't been really followed.
Right, so thank you for your work on this one. So with this particular issue with the murals, you can see when we dive into the actual policy we have in place, it's very general. So I am in unison, and I do agree with Chief Moore's recommendation that we do create a more specific policy that would address murals from the approval process to the vetting out process to approving the artwork prior to the work being done. So that would be our path forward, is to create a new policy specific for LEFD-approved murals within a fire station location. So those would be our next steps to create the new policy.
Okay, and when that policy is completed, we'd like to have a report back to the commission so that we can have an understanding as to what's going on with the murals also. Does the Form F-225 have a space where the firefighters and the stations can have some input? We know that the mural design has been reviewed by everybody in the fire station, maybe approved by people in the fire station, or that the community has had some input. Is there space for that to be noticed on that
The
form?
expectation would be that there's a consensus from the station, all of the membership and the station commanders, and they'll come up with their idea and a rendition of what they would like to put up on the station as the mural. They'll take that information to the battalion chief. The battalion chief would look it over and make sure that it's appropriate for the station. And they'd write a 225 that would go up through the chain of command. So from the station commander to the battalion chief to the geographic bureau, who would then say okay as to whether or not they can move forward, and they would move forward accordingly. So not officially, there's not going to be some documentation that everyone would be involved in, but the consensus would come from that station to the respective battalion chief, and there'd be a consensus there, and then to the bureau commander as well.
Okay, as you're looking at new policy, can a new form or space on the form be added so that you can document the fact that the people in the stations have looked at it, or the community or whatever group is considering it?
We would consider that in regard to what would be the vetting out process. From that point, that would be placed in the 225. Now, the station commanders have that responsibility to ensure we have a consensus. So whether or not we create a new form, but that's all for us to create in the future as to how do we ensure that we have multiple lenses on the artwork, that it is appropriate in a public forum, which is the fire stations, is a community fire station, not just rank and file. So we have to make sure that, everything is appropriate. So that's for us to vet out in our new policy. We'll make sure the stakeholders are involved in that process as we create new policy, and then we'll report back to you once we vetted that out.
Yes, because we wouldn't want it to be that the battalion chief decided that this is what it is, and I have the money and I'll pay for it, and therefore we'll do it, type thing. I think that everybody, because so many people live in these houses, that it should be acceptable and approved by a lot of people who are there, as opposed to just maybe a small group.
In addition, Madam President, if we did anything on the outside of the building, we'd have to deal with the Department of Cultural Affairs. So there's a process for it on the outside of the building.
Okay.
What I'm referring to is what's inside.
The inside parts, inside parts.
If it's outside
right.
the building, we have to bring in the community, and we would bring in the Department of Cultural Affairs, and there's a different form that we would need to send up, and we would have to have other folks, stakeholders involved in order for that to be something that we would approve.
Could we also find out how many murals we have and where they're located?
Yes, ma'am.
And if they're inside or outside?
We have
I don't
one
remember
station.
seeing any outside.
We have one station with an outside mural, it's Fire Station 63.
62?
63.
63. Oh, okay. Because most of the ones I've seen are all inside.
And 38.
Yeah. And so, and the work is always magnificent, and I've always admired the ones that I've seen. So, very good. Okay, great job. Thank you, Chief Moore.
Yes, ma'am.
Is it just one muralist artist that's doing the paintings inside, or is it?
No, that's
Okay.
one that's most popular, but no, some of them are done by us, which is
Oh.
the reason why we see this as something
Yeah.
that's highly valuable. A lot of these murals are the ideas and concept of our membership, and we have artists, and that's part of how we
Yeah.
want to draw different people to our agency, as this is something that we're proud of and we want to continue to do.
Very cool, awesome, thank you.
Okay, very good. Thanks, Chief Moore.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm glad that you're working on, that will work on morale. Okay, let's see. Is there a motion to receive and file item D?
Motion to receive and file item D, BFC 23-409.
Is there a second?
A second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we receive and file BFC 23-049. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, like sign. The motion carries, and we move on to item E, our youth development programs, and we have Chief Chris Lawson. Sorry, Chris, Chief Lawson.
Fine, Commissioner. Good morning, President Woods Gray, Commissioners.
Morning.
Commissioners, Chief Crowley, City Attorney Nguyen, and command staff, present guests. My name is Christine Larson. I am Assistant Chief in the Fire Prevention Bureau. Previous assignment as the Battalion Chief in charge of recruitment and youth programs. Also here in attendance is Patricia Arias, who is our Senior Project Coordinator, who keeps all the data and tracks all the participants throughout the youth programs that we offer. This is the first board report that's being presented post-COVID. As with everything else in the city, we shut down during COVID. All of our programs were shut down. The only program that still ran was our magnet high schools in the virtual format. So even though our firefighters were detailed to COVID duties as base camp managers, they still checked in with those students during that time period to encourage them, make sure they were engaged in school still, and made sure that they understood that we still supported them. We consider our youth programs to be a progressive pathway into the fire department, as well as offering the kids life skills and the opportunity to just be better citizens overall. So we have our girls camp, our fire EMS magnets, our youth fire program, and our cadet program. We've just completed our spring girls camp. That was a lot of fun down at Fire Station Drill Tower 40. We have our fire EMS magnet. About 456 students, 29% female participation. We are having a magnet graduation this Saturday at 10 a.m. at Frank Hodge Memorial Training Center. You are all invited to attend. One of the things that we have been working on is trying to add things that are of value to our students. So one of the things that we are offering, and it's going to start this fall, it's a POP program. It's based on LAPD's Police Officer Orientation Program. We're tweaking that a little bit so that our Magnet High School students who want to go to LA Valley College or West LA College will go in as a cohort. And we're going to tweak it a little bit, so instead of the administrative justice, we work on the fire tech side, and then that second year that they're a cohort, they're going to get their EMT, which will make them eligible to be hired by the fire department. So we're always looking for ways that we can enhance the opportunities for our youth, and this is one of them that we've just kind of got off the ground. You have right now our Metro Youth Fire Academy that's going on. We have 90 participants there, and we're going to have a graduation Saturday, May 27th, at Frank Hotchkiss at 10 o'clock on our upper drill deck, which you are also invited to. One of the biggest challenges we had during COVID was our cadet program. That mentorship that those cadets get in person is invaluable, and it's hard to replace. Additionally, we've had a lot of members transfer, promote out of the assignments that they were in, and it's been a challenge for us to get people that are in those stations to replace those cadet post advisors that we have lost. So that's going to be one of our bigger challenges, is trying to engage with some of our membership to try and get them to take on the responsibility of being a cadet post advisor. It's challenging, it's rewarding, but at this particular point in time, there's not a whole lot of incentive other than a few V hours that we can offer those cadet post advisors. We always look at program successes. One of the other value-added items we did is we have partnered with PRN Ambulance to offer EMT scholarships to our cadets. Previously, all we did was offer them the opportunity to go to paramedic school and sponsor them through the fire department. Now we offer them that EMT portion, which again offers them the possibility of getting hired by the fire department at a younger age. They get to choose the EMT school that they go to, and that's a scholarship by both PRN and the Fire Foundation. Last weekend, we had 13 cadets graduate from a Wildland Fire Academy. The importance of that is they earn the certifications that they can now be eligible for hire on a wildland paid crew, anywhere with BLM, U.S. Forest Service, CAL FIRE at this particular point in time. So again, those programs that offer our cadets something that they can use outside of the fire department, is a great opportunity as well. 2 weeks ago, we just had a female cadet who is a product of our youth programs. As much of the time we talk about the return on investment. She was a girl who was part of one of our first girls' camps, became engaged with the fire department, joined our Valley Youth Fire Program, and became a cadet, and now just successfully completed paramedic school. So that's a huge success for us. So we hopefully, now that we're back in person, we'll have more of the programs that are annual programs for our cadets, but we'll see how that goes. Fire Service Day, we had cadets at Fire Station 99, Fire Station 88, Fire Station 91, and 94. So as with all youth programs, our goal is to increase the participation of youth in the programs, increase our female participation, and because we are so popular, the only program we actually advertise for is Girls Camp. So the word of mouth that is spread amongst the community about our youth programs is second to none, and it is a positive experience for all of the youth that participate. I think you can see within our program, the majority of our participants are Hispanic, so we're definitely reaching some of our target demographics for the fire department, and we hope to continue that and maybe increase the percentage of African American participation. That is all I have, and any questions you may have for me.
Thanks very much. This program has really grown over the years and has made tremendous progress. And the report it's great to hear the progress that it has made, and I've witnessed the beginning and the proof of what has happened. So I'm really happy with where we are. I know that we've had some girls to go through girls' camp who told me, one in particular told me she was going to be a firefighter, and she's going into the program. So there are others who've gone through the camp who are already firefighters. And so it shows you that the girls' camp and those youth programs can have an impact upon the fire department and the youth in our communities also. I'm really happy to hear when a girl says she's gone to girls' camp and now she's a firefighter, or that she's going to be a firefighter. That's really exciting to me to see how much that has paid off. And the growth of this department, I do believe and have witnessed under the leadership of our battalion, our chiefs, along with Patricia Arias. Patricia, stand up. We call her Tricia. Trish, thank you so much. She is the energy behind a lot of the youth work that we have. And when we put her in that department, the things really started to move. And we are really so happy that with the progress, and thank you so much for all the work she does. She has just been a real asset to this program and the growth of the youth programs at all of the high schools where we have the programs. And she keeps us informed as to things that are happening. And then Chief McKnight with the other programs.
With Metro. The Metro Youth Fire Program.
With the Metro programs, yes, he does the Metro youth programs. We have a lot of people in the fire department who do volunteer work to help youth get through to meet the challenges and to understand what fire service is like. So it's really great that we have these people on who have this. The fire department, as a matter of fact, is one of the only places I know of where the firefighters train their own trained people for free and want them to come in and nurture them. And, it's just like almost, they should be a success because of the work the help that they're getting. It's not many places you can go where you can get that kind of help and training. And so, Chief Larson, thank you very much for this report. Commissioners, are there comments or questions for the chief?
Yes, Chief Larson, so would you say that one of the major challenges is on the cadet post advisors?
Yes. We've lost some cadet posts, so we're down. We had a phenomenal person at Fire Station 63, and he retired. And we've reached out to the station a couple times, and they haven't gotten the buy-in yet. So we're not giving up. We're just trying to kind of put things back together. And
Right.
we have so many people that are have promoted and have transferred stations. So it's really trying to find the right person. A lot of times the people that we get that are cadet post advisors are products of the youth program.
Sure.
And usually with every single fire department graduation, we have 4 or 5 people that have been part of our cadet program or a cadet program with LA County. So we're hoping to tap in the future to that resource and say, hey, maybe now you can give back. You got to get through probation and all that kind of stuff, but leverage their knowledge of the program and what it afforded them to become post advisors for us.
And what kind of commitment is that post advisor?
The post advisors, once a week or once every other week, we provide them with the equipment. So within reason that we can get for them, the turnout gear, helmets, gloves. Usually the stations will have extra complement of ladders and some of the other tools, or they'll use tools sparingly off the fire companies. And so it's usually done on a weekend so that the kids are available Saturday or Sunday, and whatever fire station that it's at. Some of them are very consistent. Inspector Gutierrez is incredibly on point once a week at Fire Station 94. So it's that. And then if we have programs like Del Val, which is a hands-on training program, that we'll use more post advisors because we need extra, sets of hands, as well as something like CFA, which is the California Fire Exploring Academy, and that is a week-long overnight camp. So we actually need the oversight there as well. So as these programs ramp up, we, offer those members that are cadet post advisors hours to attend and ensure the safety of the cadets.
Right. So this is just, not a knock on anyone here or this is all excellent, but I think, unintended consequences of the fire department being spread so thin. We see it impacting our youth programs. It all trickles down that, most of our firefighters are overworked at this time, so probably to take on extra roles like this, which are so dire and important to a department to continue to grow. So thank you for all the hard work you're continuing to do and push out, because I know that this isn't an easy task on top of everything else that's happening with the department, but how important this is and crucial. And we've seen the the numbers grow because of the hard work you and your team have been doing. So
Thank
thank
you.
you for working with what you can, especially during the COVID-19 environment as well.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
I mean, this is a really exciting program. I'd love to learn much more about it. Did you say cadet post advisors are they volunteers?
Well, they're members of the department. Some,
Right.
they can be retired, but most of them are active LAFD firefighters.
Right.
And they have to go through post-advisor training, that we do in-house, as well as a couple of online courses. We're partnered with Boy Scouts of America through Learning for Life, and there's state mandated training also for adults that work with youth. So it's kind of a double layer protection. The state training is just new. So most of them are people that are retired. We still make them do the youth protection training, but they're kind of like associate advisors.
But there isn't like a pay differential or something for
No.
these?
The majority of our post advisors are not paid at all. They'll be paid, like I said, if they go to certain events, but on a weekly basis, they are not paid.
Because, I mean, volunteers are great, but if this is an important part of the department, it seems like it should be something that we should be paying for.
We do have a certain number of V hours. I don't know if we would have enough V hours in a year to pay, once a week, but that will be something we can audit.
I mean, do you think that would increase the number of people willing to be cadet advisors?
Possibly. I mean, it's just challenging because it's on the weekend, and at this particular point in time with staffing challenges on a weekend, the members are getting recalled and just not able to fulfill that responsibility.
Right.
I think it's a shortage of staff, which
shortage
seems to
and
be
over-
creating the most problem now because we're very understaffed.
I think it will resolve within a year. It's just temporary.
Yeah, okay. And just one quick question. So great, and we send them to paramedic school. Is there, do we give them like a guaranteed spot? Or do they get any sort of like a extra credit if they've gone through the program? Do they, the extra points or whatever as we're hiring?
So anybody that's been through any of our programs, it's something that we tell them to put on their application. The civil service rules only allow us to give extra points for people that are in the military. So unless there was a charter change to add that to the points that are bonusable, we could not do that.
But I will tell you that our evaluators, our members who are evaluating our fire candidates highly look at having that experience with the fire department as our cadets. If we've sponsored them, our members understand the connectivity of what that means for our cadets to be hired. So there's not an official 5 points that we have for the veterans, but certainly when we look at our candidates across the board, if they have that volunteerism, if they were part of our cadet program, part of our youth development programs, that's highly desirable because those members have already have a head start in regard to our tools, equipment, expectations, high qualifications that we're looking for in our recruits anyway. So that in itself would give those individuals potential, increase in likelihood of being hired by us. Now, the direct connectivity is what we're missing, and whether or not we would look for other avenues of how do we look at target local hire, how do we have a direct correlation from hiring individuals that were part of our youth development programs. So that's something to explore, but those are some of the challenges that we've had where just because they're a cadet, we can't necessarily take them and put them directly in line to be in one of our academies.
When candidates get through the process, they pass their interview and they go for their pre-employment background, there are questions that ask if you have been a cadet. We obviously ask them if they have their EMT and paramedic license. So those questions are kind of asked, and we hope that when the candidates fill out their actual original application that they put on there that they were a former cadet, and that they highlight that in their entrance interview, because we have the ability, at recruitment and through the youth programs, through our cadet post advisors, to offer them mock interviews to ensure that they're successful in the interview process. So candidates that there were cadets or other youth program participants that are reaching out, back to Patricia Arias, we'll set them up and either bring them in the office and do the interview or go meet with them and do interviews with them to get them ready to go through our process and kind of, really go through what they need to do so that they can be successful navigating the process.
Great, thank you.
And one of the goals that we've had for a number of years is to look at how we could move our fire science magnets to the point where when students graduate from high school, they can go from school to work,
Right.
be all prepared for the EMT certification. But that's like, we're working on it.
Well, the challenge we have with the EMT, actually, after asking almost all the magnet coordinators, most of the kids that are graduating are 17. You have to be 18 to take the EMT course. And if we were to give it to them too far ahead of when they actually were able to take the test, they would probably all fail. So the better process is if they, start to go to college, if they were able to get in that POP program or graduate and take EMT at a local community college. It's much cheaper. In our talks with Valley College, they have 82% success rate on that NREMT exam for people that complete their EMT program.
That's great. I know that there's my niece graduated from high school about 2 years ago now in Garland, Texas, at the Garland High School. And when she finished, she only had to do the ride-alongs, and then she was certified to take the exam for EMT. Of course, she's a student at Howard University because she's going into medicine, and that was a part of what she thought she wanted to do. But I was impressed with that, and I wanted to look into that more, but I haven't got, it's 2 years, I haven't had a chance to call over there and say, give us the details on how you did that at Garland in Texas, because I was impressed with the idea, because I thought, wow, what are you doing? And she's riding along just to finish up her EMT training. I think she had 2 ride-alongs or something to do, and before she went off to college. So it's something that we will, I know, continue to think about and look at, because as a part of the school system, that's something that we're interested in also.
Is it a state requirement that they have to be 18 to take the EMT? So that could be changed, theoretically. Like all of our career tech, and I work for LAUSD, so I'm especially interested in this. A lot of our career tech programs are starting earlier than high school now, because it just makes sense to have a pathway that starts earlier. So 18 seems sort of arbitrary. Anyway, just interesting to.
The challenge we have with our magnet programs is finding qualified CTE teachers to teach in our magnet programs.
Right,
So
'cause they
that
pay so
would
much
be
less
an
than-
additional challenge of somebody that's qualified to teach that EMT program in at a high school setting.
Right. Yes.
But
can work on
there
that.
are times when we bring in experts who have minimum certification.
Right.
There are a lot of ways of working. It's just,
There's a problem everywhere, but the
and
career tech
Karen,
folks are,
Commissioner, is a great resource for this particular issue, because she is right there in the board
right there.
of education. That's
So many
great.
ideas, I'd love to, like, the crazier the better, crazy ideas about how to make it more, it sounds fantastic, and just how to,
We'll set up a meeting between you and Miss Arias, and you
Yes.
can flesh that out.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be really great. I don't know if I don't have any other questions. I just want to thank you for all of the leadership that you've given to this department, and the recruitment department, and to the team that works with you there, and wishing us continued success now that COVID seems to be not an emergency anymore. We can do things in a different way. Thank you so very much for that report. And we look forward to the next one. I think we get these reports every so often, but I don't know if it's quarterly or every 6 months or once a year, but whenever the next one comes. Okay, is there a motion for item E, to receive and file?
so moved.
Second?
Second.
This has been moved and seconded that we receive and file BFC 23-050. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. The motion carries. Very good. Let's move on to item F, which is our verbal report on an issue.
Good morning,
Good morning,
Commissioners,
Chief
Madam President.
Gutierrez.
Welcome,
Thank you.
Commissioner, Fire Chief Crowley, City Attorney, command staff, and guest. My name is Stephen Gutierrez. I'm a Deputy Chief in charge of Training and Support Bureau. This morning, I'm going to be providing a verbal update on the January 5th Fire Captain 1 examination. As directed by the Board of Fire Commissioners, I'm here to report what occurred to the point of where we're at today. On January 5th, 2023, the Los Angeles City Personnel Department administered the Fire Captain 1 multiple choice examination. As with all civil service examinations, the City of Los Angeles Personnel Department is the administrator of those exams. The Fire Department collaborates with the city personnel by providing subject matter expertise in most areas as subject matter is being evaluated. This was an online virtual examination which took place the morning and concluded in the evening on January 5th of 2023. 476 members participated in the examination. In late January, approximately January 29th, the department was made aware of possible inappropriateness of members who may have participated in the examination. All the material which was provided to the department, which was provided then to the city personnel department for evaluation. City personnel, encouraged by the department, re-administered a new test, a retest, which took place April 13th, 2023. 317 members participated in that examination. The department collaborated with city personnel to ensure that this test, this retest, was an in-person exam. It was at one time and one location. This was not an online virtual examination. Again, all the material that was provided to the department was provided to the city personnel department for evaluation, as well as entered into the department's complaint tracking system and given to Professional Standards Division for an ongoing investigation. And in conclusion, the department takes all matters related to testing and our promotional process very serious. And we are committed to a fair, impartial, unbiased, and objective testing at all times. And at this point, I can answer any questions you may have.
Okay, Commissioners, do you have any questions? Any questions? Oh, I feel confident that the chief has worked on the issues that were related to this particular issue, and that it will be done in a different way, and that we'll have different, well, not, I don't know if we'll have different results, but we'll have, the process will be fair, open, and transparent. So that's really, I think that's great. Anyone else on that particular? Okay. Thank you, Chief Gutierrez. That seems to be all that we have on that particular issue. And it's a verbal report. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Okay. Chief, did you have anything to add to that?
I do not.
Okay, very good. There's no motion no action on that particular motion for that presentation. Okay, very good. We've come to the end of our agenda.
And ma'am, before we adjourn, if I may?
Yes.
Just one thing. I just wanted to take a moment just to recognize that we have our 3-year anniversary of our Boyd Street incident. That's where we had that major explosion.
Right, yes.
And we had a number of our members who were injured and burned. And I just wanted to make sure that we all reflect on that particular time and date. Our members are still healing, both on the physical side as well as the mental side. And we are here with them, beside them, to support each and every member that was negatively impacted by that. We are a department that comes together. We support one another in our difficult times and challenges. And I just wanted to ensure that we took the time to recognize we're at our 3-year anniversary, and we're coming together to support one another. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for calling that to our attention. I was going to mention that when we talked about cannabis, and because that was created through I think it was an illegal shop. At least they didn't have the proper notification for the what was inside of the building. And I constantly do keep those firefighters in mind and think about them because of the fact that I know the trauma of that particular fire. It was just devastating. And I've actually been in contact with some throughout the years, so it's something that we never want to forget, but we don't want it to happen again. So we're hoping that everybody in the city, the cannabis people and everyone else is looking to, at that particular situation and knowing that they need to do more to protect the lives of the people. Lives are much more important than money in that particular situation. Thank you very much for that, Chief. And so we do keep those people in our prayers, especially that captain who was in charge. He was seemingly hurt worse than anyone else, it seems. It was really a very sad situation there. I wanted to, that is the last item on our agenda, but before we adjourned, I wanted to congratulate Chief Percy Jones on his retirement, and I noticed that Chief Hogan has a retirement event coming up, and to all other retirees who are retiring, we want to congratulate you on making the mark, and hope that you will enjoy what I consider the best life, retirement. Wherever they may be at this time, I hope that they get the word. Their retirement is the best life.
Take your word for it.
Yes, hang in there, you'll find out. I also wanted to point out, and I forgot to mention, that we had 2 firefighter mothers who were highlighted on television, Channel 2 and 9. There was let me see, Tanya Crabb and what are those names? The thing flipped to Tanya Crabb and Jessica Jackson. They did an excellent job in that interview. I enjoyed that. That was really nice. Great idea that the news picked up on that. And to see that, I think is it Tanya, or which one, that has the son?
Yes.
Who is also now a firefighter. She's, and that was, I thought that was very impressive. If you didn't see it, look at your emails, and Miss Gomez will make sure that the new commissioner gets that video so she can see it.
Thank you.
The link. But I was excited to see that they were highlighting firefighters as mothers. That's a different role for the public to see. And I thought that was really great. Okay, very good. I don't know that I have any other commissioners have any final comments? Okay, seeing none, then
One question, it's
Yes.
maybe a procedural question. It was great hearing the report from the bomberos today. Do we regularly hear from other, the Centurions, women in the fire service?
Yeah, we did. We had a time when we've heard from all of them at a different time, but probably starting over again, we'll start to hear them again. But Los Bomberos did a follow-up,
Yeah.
and that was great. But we have listened to all of them. We've invited everyone, the officers, UFLAC, and everyone to present
Yeah.
to our commission. And so,
Regular presentation
yeah,
should be great.
so that we get to know what they're doing out in the field.
Right.
Because they play a very important part
All of
in
them,
helping us to recruit and maintain firefighters in the city. So, yes. And anytime you think they haven't presented soon enough, you just make a request.
Okay. They're in the comments, They're in the comment section.
Right. Okay, so if there is no other comments or questions and concerns, a motion is in order to adjourn our meeting.
So moved?
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we adjourn our meeting. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed can stay here. Okay, very good. Thank you so very much. The meeting is adjourned. Thanks to everybody who attended for so long.